Hello children, let us study a new lesson in civics, that is fundamental rights and duties. First of all, let us study about fundamental rights. What are fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are the basic and essential conditions necessary for an individual to progress in life and lead a decent life in the society. As these rights are basic in nature, they have been included in the Constitution to ensure that every individual gets it. These are known as fundamental rights, and no one can deny these rights to an individual. Even the government cannot make any laws that would deny the fundamental rights to its citizens. Thus, the fundamental rights are safeguarded very carefully. We Indians, Constitution has provided 6 types of fundamental rights to the citizen. They are right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. Let us discuss about them briefly. First one, right to equality. In India, there are people practicing different religion and speaking various languages. There are people belonging to hundreds of castes across the country. We have men and women from different cultural backgrounds. All these are Indian citizens and they are equal before law. It is not that some laws are applicable to some people and some laws are not applicable to others. Every single Indian gets equal protection of law. All citizens have equal rights to use public places and facilities such as roads, parks, hospitals, schools, pilgrim centers, railway stations, etc. They are equal. They have equal opportunity in matter of government employment. Before independence, we had a practice called untouchability. According to this practice, it was a sin for high caste person to touch the low caste person. The Constitution of India has completely abolished this practice. Today, practice of untouchability, it's a crime. The Constitution has also abolished the title indicating the higher or the low social status of individuals. For examples, titles like Raja, Maharaja, Rao Bahadur have been abolished. On the whole, this right ensures that no Indian will be discriminated or on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sect and place of birth. Second one, right to freedom. The Constitution has guaranteed to the Indian citizen 6 freedoms. Which are those 6 freedoms? They are right to speech and freedom of expression. Second one, right to participate in peaceful public meeting. Third, right to establish institution and association. Fourth, right to travel throughout the country without any restriction. Fifth, right to live in any part of India. Sixth, right to take up any employment, business or occupation. Let us study one by one now in detail. Freedom of speech and expression. Indian citizens have freedom of speech and expression. They are free to express their thoughts through various medias such as radio, television, internet, newspapers and magazines. It is not mean that they have unlimited freedom to speak out whatever they wish. They are prohibited from talks about that would disturb and order in the society. Peace and order in the society. They are not permitted to speak against the verdict given by the court of law. They are also not allowed to express indecent and immoral views that would spoil the name of the individual into the society. Second one, freedom. Right to freedom or participate in the peaceful public meeting. So, freedom of assembly. So, participate in peaceful public meeting. Indian citizens have the freedom to assemble peacefully. Thus, citizens can call meetings. They can organize agitations, morning marches, protest rallies. At the same time, when they gather public places anytime, they should not carry any weapons. Third one, freedom of association. Indian citizens having certain common interests and objectives can come together and form association. It could be a student association and ex-student association, a youth club or traders association, readers club, etc. Freedom of movement. Indian citizens have freedom to move freely anywhere in the country. They do not require any permit, visa or passport to go from one part of the country to another part of it. And the sixth one, freedom of residence. The freedom enables Indian citizens to reside and settle permanently anywhere in the country. The last one is freedom of profession and trade. Through this provision, Indian citizens get the privilege of taking up any lawful professions of their choice. These are the personal freedom given to every Indian citizens. Besides these, the Constitution has guaranteed two important civil liberties. They are, no person can be arrested without following the procedure laid down by the law. Second one, no person can be deprived of his or her life or freedom except according to the procedure established by the law. These freedoms are absolute. That means they are not unlimited. There are certain restrictions that limit these freedoms. While enjoying them, citizens need to ensure that they do not violate peace, disturb social order, or harm public health, morality, or national interest. In 2002, the right to education was added to this list. Accordingly, children between the age of 16 to 14 years have a right to free and compulsory education. Next right is right against exploitation. Third one, in order to protect the life and liberties of every individual, the Constitution has guaranteed the right against exploitation. Sometimes we hear about poor parents selling their children to some rich families as maid servants. This kind of buying and selling human beings is known as trade of human beings. This type of exploitation, because what is sold and bought it in this type of human trafficking is the life and liberties of an innocent boy or girl. In the past, human beings, especially Negroes, bought and sold in the slave markets as bulls are bought and sold in the bull market. This practice is known as slavery, which is another type of exploitation. There is another form of exploitation called bonded labor. Then, what is bonded labor? If you happen to visit a coffee estate or tea estate, you will find many families are permanently settled there for carrying out seasonal agricultural activities. They do not have any fixed working hours. These families are provided everything inside the estate itself. They are not given cash payments. They cannot come out of the estate and mingle with the people outside. This practice is called bonded labor. These different types of exploitation are prohibited by law. Child labor is another kind of exploitation. Employing children below the age of 14 years in factories or mines or working in any other hazards shops is prohibited. In 2006, the scope of this right was widened and every form of child labor is now the crime in the eyes of law. Accordingly, even if a child is employed in jobs such as maid as a servant in tea supplier or dishwasher in a hotel, it amounts as a child labor. Next right is right to religion. Indian society is a multi-religion society. There are Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Jains, Parsis and Buddhists, etc. The constitution has given everyone the right to pray and worship according to their religion. Though every Indian citizen enjoys the freedom of religion, the government can forbid inhuman customs, traditions and superstitions practiced in the name of religion. Next one, fifth one, that is cultural and educational rights. India is a land of cultural diversities with various religion sects and language. The diverse culture, tradition add beauty in the Indian culture. In order to preserve these traditions and to develop every language with unique character, lies the Constitution has issued cultural and educational rights to Indian citizens. The provision of this right enables the minority, religion, language and tribal communities to establish separate educational institutions to conserve and nurture their language, culture and tradition. Last one, sixth one, right to constitutional remedies. If any of the above listed rights guaranteed by the Constitution are encroached upon or denied to any citizen of India, he has the right to approach the court for justice. This is an important right because this provision ensures that every citizen is able to enjoy these rights. Moreover, it becomes impossible even for the government to take away the fundamental rights of the citizen. Now, let us study the fundamental duties. The fundamental rights and duties are the two sides of the same coin. Here, the responsibility of an individual to his country is known as the duty. So suppose if people discharge their fundamental duties with self-motivation or self-interest, then the progress of the country becomes easier. There are 11 fundamental duties. Let us learn one by one. First one, to respect the Constitution, national flag and national anthem. Everyone should respect our Constitution, national flag and national anthem. Second one, each citizen of India should follow the noble ideals that inspired our struggle for freedom. Third one, to protect the unity of India. As a citizen of India, it is our duty to protect the unity of India. Fourth, to defend the motherland. When we have to defend the motherland during emergency or during war, each one should be ready to save our motherland. Fifth, to promote the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all people of India. We all should think that we are all one. Feeling of oneness we have to develop among ourselves. Sixth, to preserve our rich heritage. We have to safeguard our rich heritage without damaging or scribbling. Eighth, to develop the scientific, temper and the spirit of inquiry. To develop what? A scientific temper as well as spirit of inquiry. To safeguard public property and give up violence. We have to stop violence. Then sixth, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activities. The parents of the guardians should provide an opportunity for education to their children from age of 6 to 14 years. So, and suppose the children does not discharge any of his fundamental duties, the government cannot question it in the court of law. All the citizens are expected to do their duties with self-motivation. Children, I hope you have understood this chapter. Keep reading the textbook. Thank you.